Yeah, I'm good, thank you, mate. Big fight of the weekend. I start with the obvious. How's preparations going? How you doing?
Yeah, good. Everything's good. Everything's on track. Feeling good. Feeling ready. Just excited to get things moving.
Nick Webb last time out, he looked impressive. He looked good. What did you make of his performance?
Yeah, credit to him for that performance. He did well. He did all right with that. I think Pfeiffer was a bit starstruck by the whole occasion. I think he went into his shell a bit and fought Nick a bit wrong. But credit to Nick, he got the win and came through.
What have you learned from your last fight? It was a bit of a learning fight, with no disrespect to anyone. What have you learned from that? And what have you taken away from it?
There's a bunch of things, but mainly that there was some bits I needed to work on, especially with someone who wasn't as engaging as we'd like them to be, doing different things and not trying to force the action too much and trying to force the pace of the fight. Kind of just letting the fight come to me in some circumstances is something we've been a bit big on since that time, because there were certain occasions there where I was really trying to press it and just trying to make something out of nothing when there wasn't really nothing there. But I think it's going to be different this time around with Nick. I think he's going to come forward quite a lot and he's going to want to kind of get the fight going. So I won't have to worry about that too much.
What kind of fight do you see this as? Because I mean, it's from a fan's perspective, it doesn't look like it's going to go the distance. But how do you see it playing out?
No, I definitely don't think it's going to go the distance. But it's going to be. I think it's going to be a good fight. There's going to be some fireworks in it because, like I say, Nick realizes kind of he's come off a good win, but if he loses here, it's kind of like his last chance saloon thing. So I think he will come forward. He will want to engage and get stuck in and try and turn this into a bit of a dogfight, which is something I'm more than welcome to. So if that's how it has to go, that's how it has to go.
Just final quick one from me. He's been engaged in a bit of a war of words, if you like, with Alan Babbage, despite him leading up to a fight with yourself. What have you made of that whole situation? I'm sure you're aware of it. What have you made of it?
Yeah, no, I'm fully aware of it, and I know that's the fight they were trying to organise beforehand. But then obviously Nick got made mandatory for my belt, so he went for that instead. So I know it's going to be an interesting week in the bubble with him, me, and Babbage, everyone all in there together. So it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, listen, all the best for Saturday, mate. I'll let you crack on.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. If we go to Joe from Seconds Out next, please.
How are you?
I'm good. How's things, mate? You all right?
Yeah, good, thank you. Really good. Looking forward to the fight this weekend. Where, in your opinion, does Nick Webb rank in comparison to your last fight against Eric Molina or Eric Molina as a fighter?
He's much lower. I think that much is obvious in terms of skill set, achievements, and in all departments, really. You can't take that away from Eric, the things that he has achieved in his career. Don't get me wrong, he was at the latter stages, but Nick's he's not a young, sprightly chicken himself either. He's getting a bit on as well. So, yeah, I think Eric Molina is definitely way ahead of him. He may be on par with my last two in terms of kind of Simon and Richard Larty. He may be in that kind of region, but he's not a step ahead of where I was before.
And you just mentioned to Chris, you feel like it's last chance saloon for Nick. Do you not think if he is to lose, he can sort of get back at this level? And could you kind of expand on what you meant by that?
He could. Whether he'd want to is a different question entirely. I think through he fought on the whatever that kind of heavyweight series thing was. I can't remember what it was called, the boxer tournament. He fought on that and then he went quiet for a couple of years and he didn't really do much and he didn't really engage, he didn't really get himself out there. And then obviously he came back with that good win. So that just says to me that he's lacking a bit of kind of fight and a bit of kind of motivation for the sport. If it's not there and being handed to him in front of him, he doesn't really seem to be willing to go get it. So, and like I say, he's getting on a bit. He's in the later part of his years. So I think after this, if he's to lose, I think he just takes his money and goes home.
And last of all, what are you actually expecting from him this Saturday? Do you think he's going to bring you a real tough fight, or is he going to be plain sailing for you?
No, I think it will be a tough fight in places. Don't get me wrong. I'm not as much as I'm taking jabs and making a few shots here and there. I'm not taking it lightly in any sense. I know what I'm in for, and I know what Nick will bring. You saw it in the Eric Pfeiffer fight. He didn't really take a step back. He wanted to step forward the whole time and kind of put the pressure on the fight. Which is cool, something I'm happy with. I've got no problem with that whatsoever. So it will be interesting, it will be engaging. It's going to be a good night.
And if you are successful, obviously you'll still have the English belt. How far do you think you will be off the Commonwealth, the British kind of level? Not asking you to name an opponent because I know you're going to be solely focused on this Saturday, but
Not too far. Not too far. A fight or two away. A fight or two away. It's difficult at the moment because there's a bit of a backlog with the whole kind of line of things all the way up to the world titles. There's a bit of a hold up, and then that ripples down all the way down to kind of my level where Joe Joyce is holding on to the 3 kind of belts that I would be looking for next, and he's not going to let those go until he gets his opportunity. So it's a bit of a kind of standstill at the moment. We're in a bit of a traffic jam, but as and when that all frees up, I'll be ready and fit.
All right, brilliant. Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Joe. If you go to Ryan from Boxing Social, please.
Fabio, how you doing?
I'm good. How's things? Are you all right, mate?
Yeah, all good, mate. Now, I just want to talk about this fight. You've wanted this fight for a long time. You made no secret of that. You're very vocal in the media in the weeks prior to this actually getting announced. You're on a few channels. You're on our channel saying you wanted this fight, trying to sort of almost goad Nick Webb. Do you feel like you forced his hand a bit?
Yeah, slightly. I think it's played a part. Like I say, I've been hunting for this fight for a while now, and the only way to really seem to get it was it only came after I did those kind of jabby things and poked the bear, as you'd say, and kind of gave him them little nudges. So it's worked. I've got what I wanted, so I'm happy with it.
The guys have pretty much covered everything to do with the fight. I want to ask you about going back to the Molina fight. You made no secret before the Molina fight that fight didn't necessarily mean you wouldn't fight at domestic level. You're here now with Nick Webb. Do you think this is the right kind of level for you right now to be at, to develop where you are at in your career?
Yeah, most definitely. The Molina fight was right for that time of my career, and I just wanted to prove that I could step forward and move on to bigger names and bigger fights in general. But with the Nick Webb fight, like I said after, there's still good fights here at domestic level to be had. I don't want to be seen to just be having that kind of Eric Molina fight and then running away with it and never competing here back at domestic level. It's definitely something I want to do. I want to kind of clean up around here. So if the fights I can get around here, as long as they're good competitive fights, I'm in.
Fabio, there's always a lot of talk about Nick Webb and the power he carries as well in the ring. People have been citing that ahead of this fight, but you've got a few very decent knockouts of late as well. What makes you so confident you're ending this fight inside the distance? I've seen you say it a few times.
It's a mix of things, really. Like, Nick has been known to get caught. He's been caught a few times by not the most technically gifted of fighters. He is susceptible to a hit, and so especially with someone like me who's quick and agile and can get to you in times where you don't think you can be got, is going to pose a problem for him. And in regards to his power, don't get me wrong, he's a big guy, and he does obviously carry some power with all that mass behind him, but there's no snap in his punches. There's no pace in anything there. It's all very large and clubbing, and it's very laboured, his work, but we'll see what he brings on the night.
All right, Fabio, thank you and good luck.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Ryan. If we go to Pro Boxing Fans next, please.
Hey, Fabio. How are you, man?
I'm good. How's things?
Yeah, good, thank you. I wanted to pick up on something you said there about Eric Pfeiffer. You saying he was starstruck by the whole occasion. Obviously, there's a lot going on. All the biggest TV companies in the world and all this jazz around these fights. How do you manage to keep yourself so cool during all these things? And what was it you noticed in Eric that made him so starstruck? I found that interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if it was any one thing in particular. Like I said, I'd never really been around Eric before that, but I've been around a lot of fighters on fight week, and people take it differently. They act with it differently. They run with fight week differently. They take it all in different ways. But with Eric, I think he seemed to be quite quiet, almost sheepish, even in the build-up and stuff. And that's no disrespect to him at all, because some fighters are like that. They just go into themselves, and then on the night they come out, and that's how they do their thing. But I think with him, it was a new event. It was such a big event as well. There was so much anticipation, so much build-up and stuff into everything that I think it may have just got to him, really. But with myself, I just tried to keep everything as normal as possible. I still mingle with my team, my friends, my family and stuff, all up into the build-up. There's no real changes for me. And even on the kind of fight week when we're in the bubble or whatever else, I'm still doing all the usual things I would do. I try not to make too much out of the occasion to hype it up in myself more than it should be. So ultimately, at the end of the day, it's just a ring. It's a ring in whether it's one place or the other, whether it's on the top of a mountain or just in the back of a gym, whatever. It's just a ring, and I've been there 100 times over.
Yeah, okay, cool. Another thing, final question I'll ask you. Obviously, you're in this bubble situation, which I've never been in, but that must be quite interesting when there's other heavyweight fighters on the card. And we saw Alan Babbage go straight up to Nick Webb after he won his fight. How do you deal with all those sorts of things? Because people are naturally businessmen and they want to create other fights for themselves. How are you dealing with that, if that has been a problem?
Yeah, for me personally, it hasn't been an issue. I haven't really, in the times that I have fought in the bubble, the only really time that I had any animosity with anyone I was in there with was the Simon Vallely fight this time last year. So that was the only real time that I had anyone that was in and around me where it was maybe a slightly awkward for people around us if we ever kind of crossed paths in the hallway or whatever. But other than that, I've not really had a problem with it. I've actually quite enjoyed them. And with other heavyweights and stuff there, I'm quite close-knit with, like I say, Alan Babbage. Johnny Fisher will be there as well, someone I get on really well with. So I don't really have too much kind of those issues with anyone around me. I actually get on with everyone really well. So I quite enjoy them. But for other people and someone like Alan as well, who likes to run around and cause a bit of noise, it's interesting.
Brilliant. That's all from me, Fabio. All the best on Saturday. Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we go to Pro Bs next, please.
Fabio, how you doing?
Yes, bro. You saying all good?
I'm good. We're wearing similar colours.
Hey, come on.
All right, look. You have, in a short space of time, a little tidy resume building up. Does it kind of hit home how much progress you made over the past 12 months or so?
It does when I stop and take a second to think about it. I try not to get lost in that all too much. I've still got so much more I want to do, so much more I want to achieve. So I try not to get lost in the whole of, oh, look what I've done, look how good I am, or whatever else. I try to just stay focused on the task, especially now, especially when I'm inches from a fight. Maybe afterwards, in the few days afterwards, when I really take a step back and go, actually, hang on, you've done all right here, you're doing well, you're getting somewhere. But not in the build up to a fight. That's not for now. That's for after.
I know Dillian Whyte likes his fighters to be in engaging competitive fights. Nick Webb, no joke, solid domestic fighter. Just beat Eric Pfeiffer. Is the timing wrong for this fight for you?
No, there's no issue with the timing. There's no issue with the timing. If anything, the timing's ideal for me because then this way there's no excuses. He's coming off a good win. He's coming off a full training camp. He's coming off confidence. He's got a lot behind himself. He's up for it. He's in the mood. So when I still get the win, there's no excuses. There's nothing to anyone to go to and say, oh, well, this didn't happen or he didn't have this or whatever else. I get this way around, I get all the credit.
I know Eric Pfeiffer was in camp with Dillian Whyte. Has he passed you any words of advice for this fight?
No, like I say, Eric's not someone I'm particularly close-knit with, not really someone I've ever spent any time with. And he hasn't passed anything over. Neither is Dill. I think the thing with me and Dill is why I think we get on so well is that he lets me be me. He knows, he believes in me wholeheartedly, so he doesn't necessarily feel the need to keep jumping in with pointers and directions. But he's always there for me to go to if I feel I need to. But he always just lets me be me and get the job done in whatever way I think's best.
What I found was interesting was Dillian Whyte saying that I want Fabio to be in tough fights. I want him to get tagged. Did you feel like you got a couple in your last fight?
Yeah, I definitely did.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. He cursed me with that one. He got me hit with that one. But it's all good. Like I say, that's something we'd even spoke about. Those type of things needed to happen. They're conversations we've had. Like, I need to go through those trials and tribulations to come out on the other side and tick them boxes off and say, no, I've done that. That's cool now. I know how to react to that, or I know how to respond. I know what to do, or I know what not to do. And I'd rather get those things done and dusted sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Lastly, for me, there's been a lot of tough fights for you. Is there a chance if you're victorious to kind of like slow it down a bit and have a sort of like a tick over fight rather than going there again with very established fighter like Nick Webb?
Maybe not something like a tick over fight. I might just take a bit of time just to relax and enjoy kind of what I've achieved. But I would never take nothing too easy. I don't see the point. I don't see the point in putting myself through a whole camp and put myself through all the hard sparring, all the hard training just to bang someone out in a round or two that I know was never really a threat in the first place. I see that as a kind of waste of time. And I don't really get anything from that either. Don't get me wrong, it's nice to stand over someone when they're knocked out on the floor and you get your hand raised and whatever else. That's a great feeling.
Yeah,
but in terms of kind of progression for my career, it doesn't do anything for me.
All right, brother. Thanks for your time.
Appreciate it, babe.
Cheers.